All right, back here with another one of these recaps. If you missed my first part of this two-part video where I went over the Patriots offense, how to attack the Bills defense, that's on the channel. Check that out. I just posted it yesterday. But anyways, the way I do these is I typically, if the teams have played each other before, I take a lot of that into account. So let's talk about the most recent time these two teams played each other and what we can learn from it. These are the box score stats from that game. You see some really good stats from Josh Allen. You're going to see some really good tape from Josh Allen. Josh Allen was really good in this game. I guess the stats aren't even that incredible, but the tape was better. He was great in this one. I mean, he was their leading rusher along with throwing for over 300 yards, albeit on 47 attempts. I should mention, I'm mostly talking about the second game. My logic was the first game had such weird weather that it's kind of not really worth paying that much attention to. Although it should be mentioned that, it's not going to be great weather this time either, right? But it'll probably be more cold than wind this time, from what I understand. Anyways, you also look at the receiving. You have, Isaiah McKenzie had a really good day in terms of how much stats he had. Also, Stephon Diggs had some pretty good numbers as well. Other than that, not a ton. Like, Devin Singletary ended up having a pretty decent day in this one, 5 catches of his own. So that's what we can learn from the box score stats. But what I also like to do is look at who played well in terms of PFF grades. These are every player's PFF grades from that game. So just kind of can give you an idea of who played well and who didn't play well in this one particular game. You see Josh Allen at the top. Like I said, his tape was very impressive. You also see Isaiah McKenzie. So he wasn't just catching the ball, but he was doing stuff to get himself open. He was playing well. You also see at number 6, you do have Stephon Diggs there. Also, Zach Moss in a limited role did play well. He ran the ball well. Dean Dawkins, for what it's worth, he had a good game. Over at the bottom, you see some offensive line. Darrell Williams did not have a great grade in this one, and some of the other receivers, sort of, guys who aren't Diggs or McKenzie, maybe didn't have the best of days. So I find all of that very interesting. Now let's go to the other side. So for New England, at the top, you do see, you see Lawrence Guy had a very good day. You have Jamie Collins and Kyle Van Noy with good days. Although you look all the way over at the bottom, and you're going to see some linebackers, a corner, Miles Bryant, and worth mentioning, Miles Bryant was on Isaiah McKenzie a decent amount, which is kind of why McKenzie's grade is so great and Bryant's grade is so not. And also, Matthew Judon didn't have the best day in this one as well. So that's what we can learn from this one. Kind of good, especially interior defensive line in this one. So that's interesting as well. But of course, this can only get you so far. As I always say, the best way to learn about the way teams are going to play each other is watch how they played each other the last time they went up against each other. So let's just get into the film, and we'll start off with a play like this. So what's going to happen here is it's a simple play. It's zone coverage, and you have a receiver running over the middle. So this is something that can work. I think that, teams like to run this stuff a lot. Although I will say New England is one of the better teams when they do play zone at covering this kind of stuff. They're very well coached. We all know this, and they tend to cover this pretty well. Watch how right when this play begins, you're going to notice that, like I said, New England's covering it well. Linebacker drops back, is doing a good job of covering that over the middle. So not a lot is open, and this is just a lot of what we saw from Josh Allen, and kind of what makes it so difficult to play defense against Josh Allen is, if you watched my last video, you saw certain plays like this would happen against the Patriots, and they'd kind of just be screwed. There's nothing they can really do other than, throw the ball away. But with Josh Allen, you can get that added. If the play doesn't work as designed, you can still sometimes have good stuff happen. Watch how Allen's going to scramble outside the pocket, which gives him enough time to get open, and you're able to pick up a first down right there. This is something that Josh Allen can do that most quarterbacks just can't do. That's not a part of their game. That's not something they have. So how much does it come into play? I don't know. Is it going to come into play a ton? Probably not. Is it going to come into play to some degree? Yes. And in fact, you could even make the argument that's why they won that second game, was because of Josh Allen adding that extra value in those specific plays. Like something like this, where Josh Allen runs a play action, but he sees he has a running lane, and it's not even a huge running lane, but he's able to pick up a ton of yards right there. This is how he was partially able to be the leading rusher of the team, because he was able to do stuff like that. So that's something that I kind of feel like if I'm, game planning for the Patriots, A, I do a much worse job than Bill Belichick will probably do, but B, you just tell yourself, Josh Allen's going to get you on a couple of those. You just have to be okay with it. Just don't let, he can't do it all game. There will be plays where he doesn't have that ability to do so, but when he does, he's going to make stuff happen, and that's going to hurt you, and just be okay with it. I also want to talk about something like this, where this is definitely a way that the Bills were able to run their offense very well. This is something they did, especially early on in that game, was when the Patriots were playing zone coverage, just hit your halfback underneath, gain some yards. You can run a methodical style of offense. That's something that you know, if nothing is open down the field, you want to take these checkdowns. Watch how you see Josh Allen is going to eventually hit Singletary. So that's something you can do for Buffalo. But again, for New England, they'll gladly take that. This is kind of one of those compromises in football where New England's taking away stuff deep, so the Bills say, okay, fine, we'll pick up those yards. And for the Patriots, they're saying, hey, get the ball out of Josh Allen's hands, get it into Devin Singletary's hands. That's a better play for us. That is easier for us to have success than if Josh Allen has the ball and is throwing it 30 yards down the field. So that's something I would expect to see probably, because we saw it the first time. So not a guarantee we'll see it again, but I wouldn't be shocked. We also saw some stuff like this where, you know, one of the interesting big-time matchups is J.C. Jackson versus Stephon Diggs, right? Obviously, J.C. Jackson, one of the best corners in the NFL. Stephon Diggs, obviously a great receiver in the NFL. But I feel like for the most part, Diggs did get have a better day than other people tend to have against J.C. Jackson. On this play, what you see is it's going to be man coverage, and you have Diggs just running a slant route over the middle, and watch what happens. Watch. As you see, Diggs, he's even going to create a little contact. Listen, the refs will let you do it, so do that. Gets around to the side of the linebacker where Allen can make the throw, makes the catch, picks up a big play. It's not a ton of separation. It's not like you're seeing J.C. Jackson get put on ice skates or anything like that. You're not going to do that against J.C. Jackson, right? He's good enough that you're not going to get wide open, but you don't have to get wide open. You know, like I keep saying, Josh Allen is very good. You get open enough, Allen will hit you and you can pick up some good yards on plays like that. Watch, this one's another one where it's going to be kind of a similar idea. I've circled Diggs and Jackson, and as you see, Allen is going to take the snap. He gets over and makes a really good throw to Diggs, who just got open enough, got the inside leverage that he was able to make that catch and say something to the crowd. Wonder what he said. Can't quite remember. Maybe you guys can Google that one on your own. But really good, well-ran route by Diggs just to get open enough against a really good corner. So kind of makes me wonder, is New England going to do the same thing they did, where a lot of times leave Jackson on Diggs one-on-one, or will they start to double Diggs? That's something that they will do, something that Belichick will do. Maybe that's something they'll do. I actually think it would make some sense given the fact that not a lot of the, C-level receivers, the guys who aren't Diggs, they didn't do a ton well in this game. But of course, there was one guy who did. Let's talk about him. So it's this play where what you're going to see is, I'm just going to circle the guys to watch here. So Isaiah McKenzie, right? Okay, played very good. What happened? Did he just have kind of an uncharacteristically good day one day? Maybe. I actually think it might be the opposite. I think it might have been Miles Bryant, who's covering him on this play, had a bad day. And if this can happen again, if you can get this matchup again, you want to take it. And quite frankly, I have to think Bill Belichick is going to say, let's not do this again. And, Cole Beasley is back, but I assume McKenzie will get a lot more playing time given how it worked the first time these two teams played each other. I mean, watch how open McKenzie is going to get. I mean, that's just wide open. You're just blowing way past a guy. And listen, part of it is this is a speed thing to some degree. Miles Bryant is not the fastest player. So you get this kind of matchup. You want to take it, and that's something that I'm interested in seeing what New England does differently the next time these two teams play each other. So yeah, final predictions here. So Buffalo scores on the year an average of 2.63 points per drive. New England gives up 1.6 points per drive on the year. So if Buffalo scored 33 points on 9 drives in the first game, which is a lot of points per drive, that's 3.7 points per drive. My prediction is they will score 34 points in an 11 possession game. So less points per drive, but still I think they're going to have a good offensive day. I have the Bills beating the Patriots 34-24. If you're interested how I got that 24 number with the Patriots, again, like I said, the last video I broke that down. But basically my logic behind why I think the Bills should still have a good offensive day is I think they did a lot well the first time. The one concern I do have and how I could see New England maybe doing a better job of shutting down Buffalo would be something along the lines of put somebody else on Isaiah McKenzie and double Stephon Diggs. Maybe that's a way you can make something happen. But again, I think that you can get stuff open down the stretch. And even if you're not getting guys open for Buffalo, Josh Allen can still find a way to scramble outside the pocket and bide time until someone does get open. So I do like this matchup from Buffalo's perspective. The weather is also maybe a concern, because if it is cold, maybe that'll hurt Buffalo a little bit. But even like the first time these two teams played, it seemed like guys were getting open. It was just kind of, they were just a bit off. They missed a few of these chunk plays. So I like Buffalo's chances in this one. That is my final prediction. What do you guys think? Am I too high on Buffalo's offense? Am I too low on Buffalo's offense? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.